Okay, the only thing we weren't able to salvage was the backing plate. And this is what I use to break all those stubborn screws loose. They come right out. Get everything transferred over. This goes on one way. Be careful because you can put it on anyway, but you want the wires to go through the notch there. Now, I recommend when putting this back together, you red Loctite everything, because everything likes to back out, and if these screws back out, you have to buy a new flywheel and stator because it wrecks them. Full of PB Blaster. Good stuff, that PB Blaster. These have locking washers on them, but I still Loctite them. PTSD from the early days of these things coming apart all the time. All right. Now, back over to the pickup, and we will only loosely put these in right now because we will have to gap the pickup to flywheel once we get it together. So I put these on real loose. Okay, there we go. Looking beautiful. And you can see that the stator plate has been upgraded to a timing plate, because why put a factory stator plate back on it? Timing plate for in the future when he comes off pump gas, he can get some timing in there. Or if you're in a lucky area where you get 93 instead of 91 and no ethanol like we have here, you can probably run 2, 3, or 4 degrees timing, but do that all on your own. You can be responsible for blowing your own bike up. It's all about pushing the limits. Okay, cut the shift star there. See, it took all the points off it, except for this one here, because it doesn't ride over this one. This one's 6th gear, and this one's 1st gear. So it doesn't go from 6th to 1st. You got to go all the way back down. And that's why it's so hard to get in neutral all the time. It's just not a good design. Anyway, we'll put it back together here. No adjustments necessary for the shift shaft, and the shift shaft is not worn. So it is good to all go back in. I'm going to do a little red Loctite from the factory. All this has some kind of locking goop on it. As you take it apart, you'll see. So there we go. Put a Loctite. Make sure you have that dowel pin. If you don't have that dowel pin in there, this thing will not shift right. I've seen the dowel pin gone and the shift star just welded. Guess a quick way to get it fixed. You always want to adjust that shift shaft. You do that by taking that locking tab off, backing off the 17mm nut, and using a flathead screwdriver to screw it in or out. That will raise and lower the claw. And they say you want it centered, but really you want it up as high as you can get it. It's going to help it on the wear, because when it wears, it sags down onto that dowel pin. So get it up as high as you can and lock everything down real good. That's just a test fit there. We're going to put the seals in. And I've showed you, you watched all my videos, the seals, they all go in by hand. This is an important one here. If this one's missing, you're going to sling mud and oil and dirt and water and everything into your stator and flywheel, and it's not going to like it. And then it's not going to work for very long. And then you'll be out over $1,000 to buy OEM stuff. So keep that plugged. If this is missing, you can silicone it. Just keep it closed. We do not want that open. All right. Let's push a couple of these other ones in here. Just all press right in with your thumbs. All right. Gonna get this back in, shift shaft in. Did I show you? This is, I believe, the culprit of holding that flywheel on. Can you see that burr? This was from the factory. It was never taken off, so it was just kind of wedged in there, and I think it was pinching it and not letting it slide off, because the flywheel is perfect and so is the crank. This thing got hung up, and we're going to take that burr off before we put it back together, and hopefully it won't get stuck again. The crank has been welded on the pin. Keep it strong so those webs don't spread apart and wreck your crank. This crank's in good working order. All the bearings feel very solid, and we're gonna put her back in and let her survive for another build. Gonna put all our retaining clips in. Remember, there's only 1/2 moon. There's not 2, and I just lay them all in the bottom here. 2 of the bigger ones, and then 1 of the smaller ones. Where did the small one go? There it is. There we go. All these shift forks are in excellent condition. No side wear, no bends. They are good. Shafts all checked out, all the gears, all the bearings, everything's good. This motor is in good shape. Just that woodruff key stuck and burred. And just setting these down in there, getting them on the forks right, getting the bearings lined up with those 1/2 moon clips. Come on. There we go. Make sure everything spins freely. Okay, let's get some of these other seals on. Make sure you oil up all your seals so they slide on. Make sure that none of the springs come off when you pop them on. Sometimes those springs will curl up over the lip and pop off. All of them have springs on them. I should say most of them do. Even this water pump guy has a spring on him. Oh. Okay, we're gonna lay this crank in there. You get all of these. The stock crank has all these little dowels in it, so you got to make sure that all the dowels are facing the right direction. One little bubble on that one. Okay. This one always has the risers towards the bearing. It keeps it separated, and the rib goes right into the groove there. Same with the other side. Rib goes into the groove. That's everything set in there. We will 3-bond it, get ready to put on the top. I'm going to clean this guy up, a little dust cover, and get him slipped into the top of the case. I always like having this in there when we put the case down. Okay, I got the little perch cleaned up. A little dust cover. Gonna get him ready just by pushing him down in there. There we go. Time to 3-bond it up. I'll get this 3-bond around it, and then we'll get the case halves together. Okay, that does it for the 3-bond. I use the 1211 3-bond silicone liquid gasket. There's all kinds of stuff on the market that's good. This is my favorite. 3-bonded. Make sure you have your dowel pins. There's one here and there's one missing up front, but that's because it's right here. So just make sure you got your dowel pins in there. Crank, front and rear transmission shafts. That's it. And dowel pins. And then you just start dropping in all your 10mm bolts. Tighten them all down. They have a sequence. The numbers are on the cases. Torque them all to spec. Got 8 12mm nuts across the bottom. All right, we have the lower end together.